What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Micah.
Hello.
And Carrie.
What's up?
We were remiss to not talk about this last week. But then, some more stuff happened about the story, because normally, when most of you saw this story, you might have been surprised that we weren't, leading with it and talking about it for a really long time. Because it's a glorious story. It's a fantastic story in the context of a TNP show. It's a gigantic dude we told you, from us to all of you. But you already knew. You already knew this as well. We might, being the operative word, be seeing the beginning of the end when it comes to non-fungible tokens in video gaming. Because not only has the interest on NFTs in general around the world dried up, because I think
tanked completely.
Tanked. If you look at searches on Google for NFTs from January to now, it's a fucking crater. It's really bad. But Ubisoft, Ubiquitous Software, famous software corporation in the entire world, announced last week that the March 2022 update that released for Ghost Recon Breakpoint is going to be the last update that Ghost Recon Breakpoint receives. And you may be wondering, well, what does that have to do with NFTs? What that has to do with NFTs is that also means that they're not going to be supporting the NFTs that they put in the game through the Ubisoft Courts website. So if you go to the Ubisoft Courts website, it confirms that their NFTs will not continue to be updated. They will just keep the servers on, essentially. And they tell all of their buyers, they said, quote, "You own a piece of the game and have left your mark in its history." And I'm ending the quote and saying that history is the operative word in that sentence, because Ghost Recon Breakpoint truly is history, along with the NFTs that you wasted money and or time on.
Yeah, NFTs, which were basically pants with a number on them.
Yes.
Hope you enjoyed spending money on special in-game pants for Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
That's right. We're going to give everyone the same gun, but we'll give you a unique serial number that nobody in the game will ever see, because who the fuck could see a unique serial number on a gun during real-time gameplay in that game?
Once again, NFTs, no fucking thanks.
I don't even remember Ghost Recon Breakpoint existing.
That's the John Barenthal Ghost Recon.
Oh, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
No.
Collecting a paycheck?
I mean, I guess, but he's a really good actor. He's about to be in that Baltimore is Corrupt show.
David Simon has a new project? I was unaware of this.
Yes, he does. It's called We Own This City, and it's about a bunch of corrupt cops. And guess what John Barenthal played?
I wonder.
I appreciate that John Barenthal can wear many different hats, because, like I said, the role for him that sticks in my mind the most is he's like the cop that's on the take for the drug cartel in Sicario. And he almost kills Emily Blunt.
Yeah, he's really stretching his wings by being an asshole alpha male.
But yeah, so if you wasted money on an NFT for Ghost Recon, here's a stark reminder that games are not supported ad infinitum. They do have an endpoint, and unless you plan on taking that NFT into some other ubiquitous software title, like a Rabbids game or, things of that nature. Except you can't even do that, because that's not how fucking game assets work. As we tried to explain to everyone who thinks that NFTs in video games are a good idea. They kind of remain independent to the game that they are created for, typically.
just now realizing that We Own This City is about the gun trace task force, and
Yes.
that's some fucked up shit that happened right here in Baltimore. I tell you what.
Is that really a David Simon thing though? I was just being
Yeah.
flip
Yes,
when
it
I
is.
okay.
Well,
I was being flip when I said it.
Is it David Simon?
I believe it is. Yes, I believe he's like executive producer or something like that.
Oh, okay. I mean, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember the book or the story on that being written by Justin Fenton. Anyway, fuck the Baltimore
This
police
this
very
is
specifically.
this is how much we are over NFTs. I don't
I would
even
rather
care
talk
that
about-
they're dying.
I would rather talk about the Baltimore police than talk about NFTs anymore.
Fuck NFTs, dude.
And also fuck the Baltimore police.
I mean, I don't live there, so hey.
Oh, really? Oh, now it's. I don't live in Baltimore. I don't live there
I don't
anymore.
live there. Y'all can do whatever y'all want now.
I'm on the Ubisoft Courts website right now. Like I said, it's just so funny because like the whole point of NFTs is that they're supposed to be unique, and yet like each of these things, like there's like 4 different guns, there's a pair of pants, there's a helmet, there's a chest pack that you can get, and it's like, oh, they're limited to 200 of these or 700 of these, and the only thing that differentiates them literally is just the serial number, essentially. That's on the side of that. People are so stupid. People are absolutely so stupid. I think at the end of the day, they sold less than 100 on legitimate marketplaces of these things.
Jesus.
Probably earned a fraction of the marketing budget that they put out to advertise this stuff.
Is it I mean, it's a little disheartening that like that company makes enough money that they can risk, like they could take a gamble on something that any sane person would realize is going to, the bubble is going to burst on that thing incredibly quickly. And Ubisoft just can like do that shit. Like even the WWE cut bait quick, fast, and in a hurry.
It's been pretty
tracking.
It's been pretty amusing to watch the people that are like late to the party. Like me and Carrie, unfortunately, our hockey team of choice has decided to like jump into the NFT bandwagon, but of course, like fashionably late to the party. I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Like, haven't you seen the fucking vitriol around this? Like, what is the actual benefit?
There's
What is
no
the actual
excuse.
end game?
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
excuse for that shit from the caps at this point. It's really fucking stupid.
What kind of an NFT is are the Capitals using? Like, is
I'm
it just
sure it's like
I don't know.
like a image of a famous moment, or like a fucking digital image of like a hockey sticker. I mean, who the fuck knows? Who cares? Quite frankly, if I'm being honest with you, like literally, I saw that tweet and me and Carrie both like replied to the main Capitals account. We're like, don't do this, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I also responded with the Fallout 4. Everyone disliked that bit, which many people seem to agree with.
Right, and again, like in looking at the replies to that tweet, it was all negativity.
Literally 0 people responded in any way that was remotely positive. Like, just like, yo,
because
what
that's
are you
where we're at.
fucking doing?
Because that's where we're at. Again, the people we've talked about before, the people that push these things are the people that have a vested interest in pushing them, because they want to make sure that their NFTs, their crypto, whatever, becomes more valuable because they're already invested in it. So it benefits them to evangelize it, to get more people in it, because it'll just therefore increase the value of what they've already sunk into it. Like, that's anytime you see anyone evangelizing this stuff, that's literally the only reason why, is because they're trying to bump their own value up. They don't give a shit other than that. They really don't.
No.
So
I was trying to think of a segue, but I'm very, very bad at them. So I'm just going to say, go to densepixels.com/fans and don't pay attention to the screaming 3-year-old.
oh, we can't even hear it. So that's just a present for you. So
wonderful. Go to densepixels.com/fans. You'll be invited into our Discord. There, you can talk about a bunch of cool stuff. And that's where you get access to the post office, where you can ask us anything and we will answer it each and every week at densepixels.com/fans. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe so you can see all of us and all of Carrie's tattoos. Didn't you just get a new Pokemon tattoo?
I got little Psyduck.
Duck.
I got Psyduck, and I got a certain fast hedgehog.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta
How
go fast.
many is your body
Don't
just
ask.
a
Like,
living
I don't know how
Pokedex?
many.
Is it just a
How many
living Pokedex?
Pokemon do I have?
Yeah, Pokemon specifically. I'm not going to
Pokemon
ask you how many
specifically?
tattoos you have.
I got 5 on this arm, and then I have 2 more on the back.
Okay, all right. So I don't know how many Pokemon there are now,
A
but like,
lot.
is the goal to get
No,
the
the
original
goal.
51? Just the original 151.
No, Studio, like the goal is to like fill it down to my elbow, and that's it on that project. The other sleeve is just general nerd shit. I got my Captain Marvel, I got my Sonic, I got my Golden Sun, I got Princess Daisy and Morgana, and yeah,
Okay. See,
my Zelda
we'll see.
shit. So
We'll see.
yeah.
Go to densepixels.com. Go to youtube.com/densepixels. And I guarantee once a month we'll see a new Pokemon tattoo. We're gonna get that
No,
once.
No, her artist moved away.
My artist is moving to Portland, Oregon, so I literally have to find someone else to do it at this point. And also, I don't get tattoos during the summer because I spend too much time at the pool, and every time I get a tattoo, it means that I would have to take a 2-week break from going into the pool in order for it to heal properly. So I'm simply not getting any more tattoos until probably November or December at the earliest at this point.
All right. Well, we will continue to fill the Pokedex this fall. Go to subscribe to all of the TMP podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Those include the Nerdpocalypse, Black on Black Cinema. Black on Black Cinema, we just did a movie called Single Black Female. And it is what you think it is. Coming distractions, there is a review of Sanic the Hedgehog, apparently is his name.
Yes.
That Carrie did. And the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political podcast, which will be recorded after this one. Go to densepixels.com/premium to get access to all of the other podcasts that we have just waiting for you. We have the airing of grievances, No Time to Bleed, The Man with the Golden Tongues, Upstage Conversation, and the entire episode of the Look Forward Political podcast. The Look Forward Political podcast, trendsetters, I would say, because good close friend of the show, Rachel Maddow, has decided to take on the 1-week format that has been pioneered, I would say.
Yes, we were the first to do a weekly political podcast. No one ever thought of it beforehand.
If it's good enough for Rachel Maddow, then Look Forward is good enough for you. $5 a month, $50 a year.
And look, I'm feeling feisty about the political news this week, so it's bound to be a good show, because usually if I'm feisty, Jay is also feisty, and then we're feisty together. So, speaking of quasi-political news when it comes to the game industry, just a reminder that when employees organize, it works.
Shit gets done.
Activision-Blizzard has announced that it's going to be converting all of its US-based temporary and contingent QA positions to full-time jobs. This means nearly 1,100 workers under Activision-Blizzard will become full-time employees, which means they will get their pay up to at least $20 an hour and allow them access to bonuses and full benefits across the board. Of course, we've talked about many times before that quality assurance, one of the dreg positions, arguably the draggiest position in the game industry, usually pays shitty, the work sucks, and you're usually not really working full-time.
Yeah, you're usually like a contract person, which means that they don't have to pay you benefits and they don't have to guarantee you work, but they're still going to ask you to put in 12-hour days, 7 days a week when it comes time to trying to get the game out on time. So yeah, shit sucks.
Yep.
And it's nice to see it. it sucks to have to say that it's nice to see Activision Blizzard converting its QA positions to full time.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like companies, especially in the US, especially in this day and age, the last thing that they want to happen is for their employees to organize into organized labor, into a collective bargaining arrangement as a union. And so usually if you make credible threats and you take steps to unionize, shit will get done. A great example of this, and I heard this example on another podcast, is if you look at the shipping industry in the US, UPS is full union. FedEx is not. And yet FedEx has comparable benefits to UPS. Why is that? Because they give that to their employees because they don't want them to unionize. So basically they look at whatever UPS is doing and they try to be comparable because they know that if they treat their employees like shit, then those employees will just fuck off and go to UPS where they can get union gigs.
Benefit.
Or they'll organize themselves and create a FedEx union, which would be bad for FedEx in the long run. You could go the Amazon route and think that you're bigger, too big to be undermined by the organization of a union, and then find out that that is actually not the case. And we'll see what happens with other Amazon places around the country, because I have a feeling that that's going to be the first domino to fall. I would imagine that part of the calculus here is Activision Blizzard seeing that news and saying, you know what, like, why don't we start to maybe give some stuff away here, because these guys seem to be pretty serious, and seeing a company like Amazon have unions and seeing companies like Starbucks form unions underneath their feet is a pretty good scare tactic if you were a big if you're maybe not the biggest corporation, but you're still a pretty big company and you want to head off those same efforts in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
What is the saying? Something about proletariats and seizing means of production and all that good stuff. Yeah, this is good. This is good, even if it is under duress, right? Like,
Sure. But that's the only way things are going to happen. Like, they're not going to do it. They're not going to benevolently grace them with these things. Like, you have to fucking push against them.
yeah, good. I'm happy for those people.
Speaking of being benevolently graced, and I use that term in just the loosest and most sarcastic way possible, a surprise announcement dropped earlier this week, or over the weekend, actually.
Yeah.
And our good friends over at Square Enix, not content to have, they just want to keep pumping out as many Japanese games that they can miscalculate the sales goals on, but not get upset with them about it, and yet they will call out Western developers for not meeting their sales targets, even though their sales usually hit considerably higher. But they're doing it again. They've announced that Kingdom Hearts 4 is in development. And it's a new, a quote, epic new storyline that they're calling the Lost Master Arc, which I assume makes some sense if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, but God only knows.
You know, in all seriousness, I really do think that Kingdom Hearts is the most obnoxious video game franchise ever to exist.
Yeah, dude.
And its fans are like a big reason why, but like that series is so far up its own ass. Like, it's just not even like, it's not even funny on like some sort of like ironic level. Like, it's Kingdom Hearts exists in a world where the Tropic Thunder movies are real. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just, I liked the first one when I played it the first time
Because it was a novel concept. Because
Right.
it's like, cool. Let's like we got these original characters, we have these beloved Disney characters, and we have
Final
small
Fantasy.
selection of beloved Final Fantasy characters, like that, the most beloved Final Fantasy characters
Sure.
of that era, essentially.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, it was a novel concept, very cool, and then they had to go and square it up. This is why I think we're actually.
Here's the thing. I don't
Yeah.
even want to call it squaring it up. I would call this Tetsuya Nomura.
That's fair.
It is very specifically that.
I find so like I reflect on the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and I'm actually really grateful that the Final Fantasy concept exists as it is, because as we've seen from Square, if they have to take a story in a role-playing game past one game, shit gets off the rails. We've seen it with Kingdom Hearts. We saw it with Final Fantasy 13. They made a Final Fantasy 7 movie, and that shit went bananas, just as a sequel to fucking FF7 and the crazy spin-off games as well that were mostly bad.
Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah, Dirge of Cerberus, and I guess Crisis Core was fine because that was more of a prequel of sorts.
Yeah, Crisis Core I heard was actually
so
but
the fact that like they're like, oh, we're gonna make like a fucking Buku franchise that is, and they're doing this again. They also announced a mobile game called Kingdom Hearts Missing Link that's going to be like a companion game to this game that's going to be coming out as well.
has an open or closed beta, beta happening later this year for the mobile game.
It just upsets me. There's so many in Square. There's so many resources that could be spent on other things, like a Final Fantasy VI proper remake at some point, which we're never going to stop yelling about. And it's funny to me because again, like we've talked on the show many times about how like they get upset with Crystal Dynamics, they got upset with IO Interactive when they had the Hitman license about like these disappointing sales. Meanwhile, like Babylon's Fall comes out, is fucking garbage.
Absolutely garbage.
Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise, which it seems like it's a good bad game, comes out, but it's it's not going to sell. Like there's no way the game's going to sell. And yet, like, there's like, we're just going to keep pumping out this crazy stuff and not say anything about it to folks in Japan about making better quality games. But you America games, like, we wanted you to sell 5 million, you only sold 3 million, you sons of bitches. Because they need those games to fund the nonsense. And the funny thing about Kingdom Hearts, so I was working at GameStop when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3 had a ton of years of hype and buzz and you know, people excited for it, and retailers bought games based on that hype and buzz. Like they ordered games based on that hype. And let me tell you, when we like my store again, the store I was at the time was like a mid sales GameStop store. So like we got like Call of Duty reserves in like the 250s, give or take. And like we had a fair amount of Kingdom Hearts reserves, but I remember we got like 150 copies of that game on launch. And around Christmas time that year, which was right around when I left GameStop shortly afterwards, that store still had like at least 90 brand new copies of Kingdom Hearts still left that eventually Square had to buy back from retailers, because retailers were like, hey, we bought this stuff, it ain't selling. You guys discounted the shit out of it, because by the time we got to Christmas, Kingdom Hearts 3 was on sale for like $20. Yeah. Came out in January.
It came out in January,
it came out in January. It was on sale for $20. And they missed it. They missed the mark. They did. They missed the mark. And,
that the game was a fucking disappointment. Like, I'm sorry. If you like Kingdom Hearts, that's fine. If you enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 3 for what it was, that's fine. But, like, they spent so long talking about this game and building up to it. And, you know, it came out, and I think for a lot of people, it was just sort of okay. You know, it wasn't the grand payoff that they had hoped it was going to be. It came out and it was fine. So I think you ended up with a lot of people who were maybe on the fence about picking up Kingdom Hearts 3, who maybe hadn't played the series since Kingdom Hearts 2 had come out, had not played any of the intervening games, who heard that it was fine and opted to pass on it, you know.
What do you think about? I know we don't really care, but like this is like a proof of concept video.
Basically,
hearing Goofy and Donald speak Japanese just
It's always weird.
Freaks me
It's
out.
always weird to hear TV dialogue in different
I just
languages.
can't.
It's
That
always
does
so
Now,
not.
strange.
I did
That
not
does
Donald
not hit the ear
especially.
well.
I did not watch the trailer, and I've never seen a Kingdom Hearts trailer in Japanese. Do they still have their like vocal?
Yes.
Yes.
They still have
You
the
still have-
exact same vocal quality.
Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on? You know, like it
Yeah.
just
To
doesn't.
be able to do like the Donald like quacking voice in other languages is got to be a talent that maybe 4 people have. Like, I don't get it.
So it's literally like Domo Oregano. Like,
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I can't. It is something that just I can't.
Yeah.
But
Are
what
all
do
the
you think
characters like?
about-
Are all the Disney characters like that? Where
Yes.
they maintain their?
Yeah, that's how Disney operates, dude.
Huh.
It's like once they set like a vocal timbre for the character, that is maintained in every single language. Because that is, everyone knows what Mickey Mouse sounds like,
Yeah.
and that is a worldwide, that is like for everyone, regardless of language, Mickey Mouse still sounds the same in terms of vocal quality.
I mean, that's cool, but also, like you said, it doesn't hit your ear right when you're a filthy,
No, it's very
filthy
strange.
American that has had these
So-
characters in a native language, quote unquote, forever.
So being the person on the podcast, despite my outspokenness and not really caring for Kingdom Hearts that much, I am the one who has played most of the games compared to you two. As a quick reminder for those listening, a couple years ago in advance of Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, I'm finally going to do it. Finally going to give Kingdom Hearts a fair shake as a franchise. So I played 1, 2, Birth by Sleep. I watched all of the between game cutscene compilations and story recaps and whatnot. So I would say I put a solid 150 hours plus into the franchise, only to be like, you know what? I still don't fucking like this. So I didn't play 3, and I probably never will. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts as a franchise, the 2 things that I always really respected about the Kingdom Hearts franchise are, 1, the music, which I think is gorgeous, regardless of how I feel about the gameplay or the story or anything like that. The music by Yoko Shimomura is fantastic. And 2, I always liked that it had, it's very much a style over substance game series, and it always had this, very solidified sense of that sort of cartoony Square Enix style about itself. And this trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 loses the style in a way that I find both extremely bland and also fucking horrendous to look at. Like
Yeah,
the
he's
shot,
just like walking around in Shibuya with
yeah,
a big.
he's in fucking Shibuya, and but like the thing about the way Sora's face is rendered here, it's like it's not quite like the Final Fantasy VII remake sort of anime style, but it's not quite the Kingdom Hearts cartoony style. So instead, it is just horrifying, like uncanny valley Sora, and I find it very difficult.
But here's the problem though, is that they kind of, if you think about it, they kind of have to go this route because the people that they're trying to appeal to were like, when the games first came out in the early 2000s, were between the ages of like 9 and 17, right? And like they basically like, they're like, oh, I guess we have to grow Kingdom Hearts with the audience because those people are going to be in their mid 30s now by the time this game comes out.
You can, grow the franchise in a way that still stays true to like the sense of style that it's always had about itself. I don't know. I don't fucking like the way that this looks. I am not interested in playing this at all. Everything about this trailer screams that Tetsuya Nomura is still pissed off about Final Fantasy Versus 13, and that he will be making Final Fantasy Versus 13 as every other game he works on until he's fucking dead in the ground.
But he got to make that game though. It's Final Fantasy
Nope, he
15.
didn't. Nope, he
it's
didn't.
Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, well then why does this look like Final Fantasy Versus 13 again? I'm sick of Kingdom Hearts. I might be made
aren't we
less
all?
sick of
Aren't we
Kingdom
all?
Hearts. First of all, I wish they would stop letting Nomura direct games because I don't think he's any fucking good at it. I don't think he's able to direct games in a way that allows the company to maintain any sort of reasonable time schedule about this. They say that this game is in development, and that's great. Maybe it'll come out in 2 or 3 years, and that will be an acceptable time period. You know, if they announce this for the 20th anniversary, if they get it out by the 30th, I will be shocked. Given their history,
I'm about to say there's no way it's going to come out in a reasonable. Well, I
if
guess
it
what
comes
you would
out by
consider a reasonable amount of
2025,
time.
I will be shocked.
And that's the other thing that's kind of crazy to me too. Like, I would imagine as much time and energy as Nomura has put into the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and not that he didn't do other things in between, but like he's like the shepherd of that franchise.
Yeah.
And you made all these games, and you finally concluded the series. Wouldn't you want to do something else?
Right. Wouldn't you want to like take a break?
Like Kojima could
don't
not
know.
wait to not make a Metal Gear game after Metal Gear 5 came out. And even then, I don't think he really wanted to do Metal Gear 5 in all
Don't
honesty.
you maybe want to, I don't know, finish the fucking Final Fantasy VII remake first, bud?
Yeah,
Or
there
just
you
gonna
go.
leave it at that?
Wouldn't you let's get that finished. Like, if you're gonna do like just one more game, or if you do two, like let's concentrate on one thing at a time. I feel like so that we don't have to wait 10 years for that to come out, or however long.
I don't
it's gonna
fucking
be.
care. I'm
It's
honestly
like-
sick of hearing about it at this point.
It like I said, it just came out of left field. It feels too soon. Like, and that's another thing too. Like, we ran into this with Kingdom Hearts 3, and we ran into it with FF7 remake of announcing the games and then not being able to get them out for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Unless they're much further in development than we think, because it looks like they're probably using the Final Fantasy VII remake engine, like whatever engine they're using for that game. It's probably just being used here as well. So maybe it won't take as long to develop, but it's a Kingdom Hearts game at the same time. So,
Yep.
Let's see. If you want Kingdom Hearts merchandise, I don't know. Go to
All right.
you
densebusiness.com/Amazon.
probably already bought it, most likely.
Yeah, yeah. But if you go to densebusiness.com/Amazon and type in Kingdom Hearts, you can get a Hearts Keyblade Ultra Soft Fleeced Blanket flannel for $29.69. Oh, it's got the heart logo with the crown and a bunch of keyblades on it. I will never understand why keyblades are cool.
It's a blunt object. It's not a
It's
sword.
not
Right, it's not a blade. It's not a
One
blade.
object.
It's a blown up key, guys.
It's a club for clubbing, not for slashing.
You can go get one at densepixels.com/Amazon, and you can use that to, I don't know, masturbate into. I don't know. I don't know what you Kingdom Hearts people do. Y'all are weird, man. Y'all are weird.
Oh my gosh. There's a couple of games coming out this week. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, a game that received a lot of positive buzz when it came out on other consoles. It's coming to Switch, so if you have a Switch, you can check that out. Don't Starve Together. It's coming out on Nintendo Switch. This is Don't Starve, but co-op. Cat Cafe Manager comes to Switch and PC. Sounds delightful. Do not buy eFootball 2022 on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. I'm telling you right now, do not buy it. This is what Pro Evolution Soccer has evolved into, and it is fucking awful.
Oh, no.
It's real bad. This came out in soft launch like 6 months ago, and it was so bad that Konami literally had to pull it off the market because it was just like, this is broken. Nobody Saves the World. It's getting its wider release on PlayStation and Switch. It's already been out on Xbox Game Pass for a little while. I've already bought it on Switch. I'll be starting it over again on the system that I wanted to play it on from the get-go. And then Road 96 comes to PlayStation and Xbox this week as well. Now, you may be surprised that Sonic the Hedgehog is a topic on the show, and it's not the thing that I'm most annoyed about, because we talked about Kingdom Hearts earlier. But Carrie, I'm assuming feeling nostalgic because she went to go see Sonic 2 and reviewed it on Coming Distractions, which you can listen to right now. Started playing old Sonic for some reason.
Yeah. So, I mean, I won't spoil anything about the film here on the show. If you've ever been a Sonic fan, I would strongly recommend that you go see Sonic 2 in theaters, or wait until it comes home. No need to risk getting sick for it or anything like that. But yeah, it's really good, and it adapts so much of the game lore, and it's perhaps the best game to film adaptation that's ever been made, because it immediately made me want to go home and play Sonic video games again for the first time in a while. And my first go-to was, I'm going to play Sonic Generations, because that was already installed on my computer. And then it didn't want to, I've gone through some drive changes and upgrades and whatnot on my computer since I first installed that game, like fucking 7 years ago. And so it didn't want to launch. It was just giving me an error message. So my two choices were figure out what's causing that error message, or play Sonic Adventure 2, which I bought for $2, I think, a year ago on a Steam sale, and play that for the first time in 20 years. So I've been playing Sonic Adventure 2 on Steam, and I don't know if it's the nature of a lot of Steam ports that's causing this to be somewhat janky, or if it's just the game itself, but it's a little janky. It could be either.
I know the answer to the question.
I don't want to absolutely say that it is just the game itself that's janky, because I know so many Steam ports of games from like that era, from like the late 90s, mid 2000s, are just janky by nature. But yeah, I'm like halfway through, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I genuinely am enjoying playing through Sonic Adventure 2 again. One, because I like the 3 different play styles that you get with Sonic Shadow versus Tails Robotnik versus Knuckles and Rouge. I forgot how fucking bonkers the story of this game is. Robotnik literally blows up the fucking moon to like prove a point to the president of, he's like, yo, I got this big ass fucking cannon, look what it can do, and he just like blows up half the moon, and he's like, give me what I want. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool. He blew up half the moon, that's going to be an ecological disaster.
Yeah, you just killed us.
I'm gonna say, isn't that the thing you threaten and not like what you lead off with?
No, that's what he leads
like
off with.
what more can you do at that point?
Jesus.
I'm going to destroy Mars. Well, I don't care. That's like millions of miles away. But like the moon, like will cause massive floods. Like this is bad.
Dude, it's so fucking like everything about Sonic Adventure 2 is a fucking trip. There's literally a boss fight, really loosely, sort of a boss stage, I guess, where as Tails, you have to like chase down the president, and then Sonic and Tails like break into the president's limousine and like trace a signal to Robotnik and are like, bye. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here for it. I have, over the last several years, just come to embrace the fact that I am and has always been a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. And
I'm just going to say, you know what game series I've never heard described as janky? Super Mario Brothers. Ever.
That's fair.
None of them.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, the counter to that is, you know what movie series you've never heard of?
I mean, that also fine. You know what? Sonic can be a great film franchise. I am totally fine with that.
I just like, I have had to sort of reassess, like, I grew up playing the games on like my neighbor's Genesis. So like I never really beat any of the games as a kid, because I would only like walk across the street to play with the neighbor kids and their copy of Sonic 2, every couple of days or whatever. But my first exposure to like the Sonic franchise was the Sonic Underground cartoon series, to the point where I remember playing Sonic for the first time and being like, why doesn't he have his guitar? Sonic's supposed to have a guitar, right?
I think those are free on like Tubi right now or something like that. Like you can watch both of the Sonic cartoons from the 90s.
I think weren't there 3 of them?
There were at least two. There
I
was like
think
the
it was
shitty Saturday
Sonic
morning.
Yeah, so
the
there's like
shitty.
there was one
The
that was
Ren
I
and
think
Stimpy one,
just
Yeah.
right?
Sonic the Hedgehog. There was one that was the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then there's Sonic Underground, and then there was Sonic X, which was like the anime which came later, which
Which
was
one is the
basically
one? Which one is the one where they're like freedom fighters?
That's
You
Sonic
know,
Underground, I
that's
think.
that's Sonic Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yo, that shit was wild, yo.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
like that shit was so serious. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, why isn't he asking for chili dogs on poorly drawn static backgrounds and giving me PSAs about you gotta get out of there? Like, all this serious shit.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
In any case, I am enjoying going back and revisiting some of the older Sonic games that I haven't touched in decades at this point. Because I think the last time I really played Sonic Adventure 2 was when it came out in like 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. So I've been having a good time going back to it. I definitely want to play some of the other Sonic games that were sort of intervening. Sonic Heroes. I really want to find a copy of that. I've got a GameCube. I'd like to track down a functioning copy of Sonic Heroes so I can play through that. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to touch like Sonic and the Secret Rings or Sonic and the Black Knight. I am not interested in that bullshit. But like Sonic Heroes, I sort of want to play. I'd like to go back and play Sonic Colors again. And I would even be willing to play Sonic Unleashed. I'm interested in going back and seeing all of the dumb shit that they've done with this character over the years, basically. But yeah, I'm simply leaning into my fandom at this point.
Holy
Which is
shit!
why,
I don't remember. There's a
yeah.
lot about Sonic I do not remember. Like the fact that Sonic has siblings is
Only in Sonic Underground does he have siblings, but both of them are also voiced by Jaleel White.
yo. This is some like this got like Poochie written all over it. Yo. Like these two are extreme. Guys.
Sonic, Manic, and Sonia. Yeah.
So it's a light news week, which it means we got a heavy post ops week, which I appreciate for you guys getting those questions in. We'll start with Daniel. He asks, Micah and I, are we going to do completion runs of Elden Ring, meaning runs where you get every single thing that you can in the game, like talismans, gestures, that kind of stuff? Hell no. It's hard enough just to do like regular runs in this game. And doing completion runs is difficult because there are so many small quests that give you like talismans and ashes of wars and stuff like that that you can get locked out of if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. So you'd have to basically play it with a guide in hand and plot your way through the game to do it. Like you kind of have to do that to get the platinum, just because there's some trophies like getting all the named weapons and stuff like that that
there's a missable. There's a missable weapon that you can get, or there's a weapon that you can miss. There's if you pick a certain ending, it locks you out of the other endings. So unless you back up saves, you got to replay the entire game. And then there are endings and then there's an ending that if you don't do a specific quest line, you just won't get the option for that ending. So I don't know about a completion run. I put a lot of time in that game. I'm almost finished the second playthrough and I haven't been playing as much, but it's the second playthrough is super fast. Yeah. Like I'm at the Dark Knight dog, as Johnny put it, and so yeah, in my second playthrough. So I might do the second playthrough and then kind of take a break for a while. Yeah. I don't know if any DLC is coming, but I might.
I would imagine there's going to be at some point. They put it in all their other games, so. And then he also asks us if we're considering Johnny asks us if we're considering hero or roleplay builds on possible second playthroughs, because he said he tried a Kratos campaign and he's currently doing a Belmont campaign with whips and faith spells.
I've seen his Kratos. His Kratos looks pretty badass. He's got like these magma blades that kind of spin around. Like it looks cool. Yeah, he gave me a magma blade.
This is a cool part of From Games that I didn't realize existed until I started getting into it, because like I've seen like people do like Ninja Turtle campaigns and like Dark Souls, so they'll like make a Ninja Turtle character and run around with like twin blades or a staff or something like that and kind of go to town. Again, I got to beat the game first. I'm taking a much more meandering route through the game than Micah did, just because my time to play is not as great. So I'm taking my time and soaking it in. I did a lot underground the last time I played. I played for like 5 hours and have completed a good chunk of the underground portion of the game.
The mimic tier, while nerfed, is still your best friend.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded it yet. I just got it not too long ago. But I will probably be playing with that a little bit here and there. So, but it's been a good time so far. I did beat Radon, which was a good time. Well, obviously I did if I'm underground. So yeah,
that was a fun fight, wasn't it?
it was fun. It was a little annoying at first because like I hated having to like sit there and dodge like the giant gravity arrow just to summon everybody until they got to him basically. But it was still a pretty good time. I did not need to use the pro strat for Radon, not because I didn't want to, but because my arcane stat was not high enough to do the Scarlet Rot's incantation. So
okay.
So I had to do it. I had to do it the old fashioned way.
I did it the old fashioned way too. Just just you and your buddies, just gang up on a bully.
Yep.
And there's one other fight that's like really fun. It's like one of the last dragons you fight, and it's super fun. Especially like dying and then just like fuck this, I'm going right back. And
well, Castle Redmane tripped me out because I wasn't expecting it to just be literally like the fight. Like I thought I would have to like work through the castle. It's like no, you can just kind of mosey on through if you don't like you can fight those two like lion like fucking creatures in the courtyard if you want to, but other than that, you can just kind of roll through and do what you got to do. I'm like, well, that's fine. It's a nice break because Kayla is annoying to trek through. I can tell you. Johnny also asks you, Carrie, which gaming soundtrack or song was the absolute worst to try to learn and get right, and was it worth it?
It's tough. At least with quick save, we haven't done anything that I think is like super over the top, like technically proficient for us. We're playing a lot of stuff that's gaming and gaming adjacent is sort of what I have been phrasing us as. One coming up is going to be tough. We're doing the theme from Paradise Killer, which is going to push my vocal range to its limits, so that's going to be hard for me personally and probably not for any of the other 6 lads in the band. They're going to have a really good time and I'm going to have problems. As far as the orchestra, we're working on a piece this season which is called Meridian Dance from Secret of Mana, and that's the final boss theme. And like a lot of stuff for Super Nintendo, like a lot of video game music in general, but especially the Super Nintendo era, it's a song written for MIDI. It's not a song written to be played by human hands. It's a song written to be played by a computer. So it's like atonal, and there's a lot of shit happening all at once, and we're having problems getting that one down. I'm a little annoyed about it because the bass line is just bullshit, honestly. And I'm pretty fucking grumpy about that one. Yeah, there's just a lot going on. Honestly, one of the pieces I arranged for the orchestra this season is a Street Fighter medley, and Ryu's theme is pretty fucking difficult. That's a busy bass line. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say like Super Nintendo era music in general tends to have a lot of stuff where a lot of composers for video games were like, ooh, we have an expanded soundboard. You know, we can do all these cool things with all these new different sound fonts. And they just like did a bunch of crazy shit, not thinking that any actual real life musicians would ever try to play or perform it.
What's funny is that if you actually look towards the like later like Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 arrangements of Ryu's theme, you'd probably have an easier time with it because those were actually arranged for like full orchestras and things of that nature.
Yeah. So. Honestly, I thought because it'll be a medley of the title theme, Ryu's theme, Ken's theme, and Guile's theme. And Guile's theme, we've nailed Guile's theme. That's going to be dope. Ken's theme has given us some problems.
But it's the best one.
I really like Ken's theme a lot.
It's the
yeah.
best one in the game.
Isn't
It's
Ken's
pretty
theme
fucking cool.
kind of like doesn't it sound a little bit like the Top Gun theme?
Yeah, it's like a rock song.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has the actual Top Gun motif in it, but it's pretty adjacent. I always liked Vega's theme because of like the Spanish flamenco guitar vibes in that. But yeah, we'll get it done. We got a few weeks left of rehearsals before the performance, so I have faith that we'll nail this shit. But yeah, just SNES shit in general has, I think, it's a really high bar to clear to try and accurately recreate a lot of that stuff. So
Cam asks, what game sequel announcement would annoy you the most? And he is forcing me to say something other than Kingdom Hearts. But that's fine, because I know what it is. If Konami puts out another Metal Gear game without Kojima, I'm going to fucking lose it. Let it alone.
I'm not even really a Metal Gear fan, but I think that would probably be mine. just because of how disrespectful I think it would feel to have them try and do that without Kojima.
As a Capcom fan, one could say fanboy, right? I'm apologetic for Capcom. There's one franchise that I just couldn't get into, and I thought was really dumb. And technically, they're not bringing it back, but they are bringing it back, and it's Dino Crisis. I always thought Dino Crisis was really fucking stupid.
I mean, it kind of is. Like, they literally just said, wow, this Resident Evil game sure is popular, and you know what else is popular? Jurassic Park. What if we take the two of those things and mash them together?
Right. That's exactly what they did. And while they're not bringing it back, they are bringing a Capcom-based third-person action shooter with dinosaurs called Exo Primal, which just feels like Monster Hunter with Dino Crisis, right? And it's the same. So I never understood the love that game, that franchise. It's a franchise. They had like
three. They had three
games.
Yeah.
Jesus, I never got it. I never got into it.
I mean, it was never as popular also as Resident Evil, because I think people recognized at the time that it was just kind of like a cash grab of sorts. Because like they all came out on the original PlayStation too, so like they all got mashed into this like 4-year cycle essentially. So very strange. Mark asks, what voice talent in gaming do you think has the most versatility? As in, like, they don't make every character sound the same or close to their normal speaking voice. So I guess Nolan North is ruled out for this category.
Nolan North, Troy Baker, like those dudes. Like, if you want a white guy to sound like a white guy, you get those white guys. Like, that's it, right? Everyone else, literally everybody but them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think Ashley Birch does a very good job.
Someone that pops up a lot that nobody knows who he is, but he's in like so many games is like Robin Atkin Downs.
Robin Atkin Downs, that was it. That was my next dude, man. Yeah. Roger Craig Smith, he's another one. Jennifer Hale's voice is very recognizable, but I think she's a better actor than most. That she can, like, I can always tell when it's her.
I forgot the fact that Roger Craig Smith has been both the voice of Chris Redfield and Sonic the Hedgehog says everything you need to fucking know, I feel like.
So yeah, there's a lot of them out there that are actually really, really good. And that's the big thing with, like, you know, God rest Robin Williams' soul, right? But he was the first, like, big actor to voice a cartoon character for Disney in The Genie, right? Mm-hmm. And his performance is phenomenal, right? But, like, now every celebrity is doing these voices. And Robin Williams is a comedic actor. He can affect his voice in different ways. Like, he was very, very good at it, right? Fucking Kevin Hart is just Kevin Hart, yo. Like, Kevin Hart is going to be Ace the Bat Dog. What? No, it's just Kevin Hart as a dog. The Rock is going to be Crypto. No, it's just The Rock as a dog. Like it's not like there's a real skill and an art to doing a vocal performance. You can't just get celebrities to just come and do this shit. Like it just I don't know. I'm a little sensitive to it.
But I mean, you're right because like Kiefer Sutherland was there for a paycheck, man. In Metal Gear 5, like it was not the same as David Hayter.
No,
it just wasn't. So, Trey asked, should more companies take the Sega approach and let outside studios remake older games from dormant franchises? I think if there's a demand for it, sure.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Please, please let someone else make another Golden Sun game. It doesn't have to be Camelot. Please.
That's right. Camelot's too busy making sports games for
making
Nintendo
fucking
characters.
Mario Golf.
Here's an interesting question from Daniel. What constitutes an acceptable amount of grind in a video game?
I think it depends on.
It depends on how well that game plays. I don't mind grinding out a game if it plays well, but if it plays like dog shit, like if it plays like dog shit, I'm probably not gonna play it to be long to begin with.
Right.
But if it plays well, but it's just not fun, like I'm just going through the motions, then it's not like Borderlands does that for me sometimes.
Yeah,
where it's like I'm just kind of playing this just to be playing it. Like if I can literally I can play a game and listen to something, but if I can play a game and have like something like YouTube or something on, and I can pay attention to that, like that's an unacceptable grind.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
What's funny, like I think the way it plays is correct. I think also like the specific loop that's there because Borderlands is a good example because the problem with Borderlands is that grinding is not easy in that game because there's no great grinding locations in Borderlands, and so like everything you do feels like it takes too long. But like I'll run rifts in Diablo 3 all day because those rifts take like 90 seconds a piece, and like it's not hard to just run in there, grind through them, run back in, grind that out again, see what loot you have, sell that off or break it down at the smith, and run, like I'll do that for like 90 minutes. Like it's not it's not a problem. Like Mike said, I'll listen to a podcast while I'm doing it or something in the background. So I don't mind about that. But if you make me sit there for like 2 hours in like a JRPG where I have to like walk around the same patch of land because it's random battles and wait for certain enemies to spawn and go through those battles which take 5 to 6 minutes or all this other kind of shit, like if it feels boring and repetitive, then I'm not going to have a good time.
I think it's something where it's like if you know how much you have to grind ahead of time, then you sort of like then any amount becomes a little more accessible if you know, because it's like, all right, cool, Monster Hunter, sometimes you have to grind out fighting a monster over and over again to get certain parts, but it's like, okay, cool, I know I need this many of this part in order to get the piece of armor or the weapon that I want. So at that point it just becomes, okay, I just have to engage the gameplay loop 2 or 3 more times in order to do this, as opposed to like in an old school like Dragon Quest where it's like, I'm going to run around in a circle, hope I get enough levels to fight this boss so that, I can advance the story. And maybe it's not enough. Maybe I hadn't done it enough times and I get my shit kicked in again. And I have to grind more and go back and try it again. That's the kind of grind that I don't think is necessarily acceptable.
Well, and I think the other problem too with modern games is that they don't design their grinds to be fun. Because a lot of modern games have ways that you can circumvent that if you just throw them a couple more bucks or a little bit more money. Yeah. And so, like, that's where, like, mobile games do that shit all the time. Like, if you play a lot of mobile games, like, they're literally, like, mobile games are grinds. Like, that's literally what they're designed to be, and not particularly fun ones. And they know that you don't want to spend, 3 hours doing some bullshit. So it's like, oh, you can give us $5 and you don't have to do any of this stuff. We'll just unlock it for you. So that's the other problem is when they don't consider what they're doing, and because they have a shortcut built in, so they don't really care, if you have to spend 4 hours because they're happy to sell you save time. So Anthony says, do you guys hoard items in video games? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. I might need it later. You don't know.
Yep. Look, if I'm
I
depending
will
on the game,
literally be on the final boss of a game and be like, well, I could use it, but like I might need it later in the fight. Like that's how fucking stupid I am about it.
I need to have like if there are 99 slots for potions, I need 99 potions because you never know, right? I'm at the end of this game. This potion is going to give me 50 health. I have 8 billion health points. It's not going to do anything, right? But you never know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's me in Elden Ring right now. Like, I have a bunch of rune arcs that I probably should be using more frequently than I am, but I'm not because I'm like, I might need this shit later. So
exactly, you never know, and then you'll be like, oh shit, I ran out.
What if there's a badder boss that I have to run across? Then I'll really need to use the rune arc. Then. Right. Row Creative asks, similar to everyone picking a favorite soccer team to follow, I'm curious as to what everyone's favorite F1 driver team are. This is only me because Micah has not, I don't think, has watched Drive to Survive.
Look, I know.
I haven't been back to,
I can name you exactly. I can name you exactly one race car person off the top of my head, and it's James Hinchcliffe, and he's not an F1 driver.
No,
he's an
not.
IndyCar driver.
Yes. That's impressive, though, that you know an IndyCar driver. Like I would presume.
You know how I know him? You want to guess how I fucking know this dude's name? It's because he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense. So for me, because I'm the only one that can answer this question, I have grown partial to McLaren because I do quite like Daniel Ricciardo, that jubilant Aussie that's in F1. He's a fun guy, and I like Lando Norris too because he is a gamer, and so he's fun to watch. So yeah, McLaren's probably my team, but I don't have any like strong allegiance to McLaren. But I do like those two guys. And then he also asked, Micah, what is the first game that we plan on introducing our children to when they're old enough, and what genre do you hope that they avoid? I've already introduced my son to video games, well, mostly because he introduced himself to video games. The one that he does enjoy playing the most is probably Super Mario 3D World, which he is actually not bad at, which is pretty good considering that it's hard to really teach him how to play the video games. He kind of has to learn it by himself. So,
it would probably be a platformer, right? Like I feel like the barrier for a platformer or like a cartoon racing game. The same thing I would, get my wife into. You know what I mean? To avoid. Those like anime titty games, you know what I mean? That I play, right? Like I've played them.
I thought you were going to say like gacha games or like Roblox or any of these.
Yeah, for me, it would be anything with a heavy like microtransaction mechanic.
Yeah. That. Oh well, I don't count those.
But that's the kind of stuff that he's more likely to fall into.
Yeah, you're right.
He's gonna start playing fucking Roblox.
Yeah, like when he gets into like third grade, his friends aren't gonna be playing like fucking Senran Kagura or anything like that with the third graders. I don't think you have to worry about that.
No, dude, that's so funny. I ain't got kids. I ain't having kids, but I think kids should play Pokemon. Like, period. Like,
most dads have to hide like their like back when me and Micah were kids. Like our parents like hid their like porn magazines in their attic. Yeah. Like Micah's gonna hide copies of like Dead or Alive 6 or something or shit like that from his son. Found Daddy's porn stash. Like, these are video games. This is weird.
Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Yeah. Phil Wander says, so ladies and gentlemen, is Red Bull Racing getting too high on its own supply? Yeah, Red Bull, 3 races into the season, defending champion Max Verstappen has 2 did not finishes because the car failed, and Sergio Perez has 1 as well, so they need to get shit figured out. And then Ricky says, asks if he likes, if we like this year's helmet cam. So they have this new camera in F1 that they show where like one driver in a race will have like a camera built into their helmet, so like you're kind of seeing it through their eyes, essentially, like because you're seeing the view through their visor. It is pretty cool because it does give you like a real sense of speed. The problem is that the visors get kind of dirty over the course of the race because obviously like fucking wind is flying in their face, so whatever debris. And they don't get to clean them that frequently. So the way they do F1 visors is, believe it or not, they have like a bunch of like stickers on the visor. Like they have these like clear stickers they put in that the drivers can literally just like rip off a sticker to when they need a clean view. Which is a pretty ingenious way to do it. But the problem is that when you're looking at the helmet cam, you kind of get all the debris and funk that's on there as well. So it's kind of half and half. He says he thinks it looks better during the day. I agree, because during the night you can't really see a whole lot with that. And then Rashawn comes in at the very end asking how long till Kingdom Hearts 4 gets released, 2024, 2025, or 2028. All conservative estimates, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There needs to be a 3 in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, real predictions, I think 2025 is probably a date that you can expect that to happen.
All jokes aside, if they're actually in development on the game right now and they're able to, dedicate the proper resources to actually getting it done in a reasonable amount of time, I think 2025 is probably a reasonable expectation for it at this point.
Yeah,
but who knows?
Like
this is Nomura and this is Square Enix, and
Yeah.
it could be bumped back a million billion times. I don't know, and I quite frankly don't care.
Well, if you'd like to wildly speculate about the future of the Kingdom Hearts franchise with many other folks who listen to the show, don't forget to join our Discord by going to densepixels.com/fans. You can ask us questions in the post office because we answer them, or try to answer them, every single week. Make sure you subscribe to this show as well as all the other TNP Studio shows wherever you download fine podcasts, and also go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe to the show there as well. And you can follow us on Twitch by going to twitch.tv/densepixels, as well as following all of us personally. I'm DensePixels Brad. Carrie is Suppets Carrie. Terrence is Apparition 410. Micah is Dense Black Nerd, but he's never on there. So you can follow him, but there will be nothing. There will be nothing to see on Micah's side of thing. That is it for us this week. We thank you as usual for watching and listening. We'll see you all the next time.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.